Crystal Rich, nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
The first snap we saw you take today, laser to the end zone, just how did day one overall go for you?
Yeah, it was a great first day. I thought we did a really good job. I thought we executed well. I thought we did some really good things. Always some things that we can always get better at first day, especially, but I thought we did a really good job. Obviously, one down the first play, scoring a sweet touchdown. Just some of the things we did well. I thought Malik had 2 or 3 nice touchdowns. Some guys made some big-time plays. Tracy had a good day in the end zone. As I mentioned, Wandale, the offensive line did a great job communicating and being crisp. And we're just so much further ahead than where we were in OTAs, but we still got more to go. So that's a good part.
What did you see in the second or third team reps from Jaxson, from Jameis?
The guys did well. They executed. They made plays. I thought offensively, and there's some highs and lows throughout those moments, but I thought we did a good job of just staying the course.
Russ, when you go back to your rookie year, you were a third-round pick coming in, and obviously you got to make plays for the vets to stand out and speak on your behalf. Now looking at it, when you see some of these younger receivers in a crowded room, how do you speak life to those guys, and who are some of those younger guys that you've seen that you say, hey, this guy, okay, keep on your track? Yeah,
I think we have a lot of great young talent across the board. I mean, our whole team's super young. Guys who are vibrant, hardworking, they're dedicated to their craft. I just go back to when we, started in the off season, getting together. Guys came out to San Diego. Guys come out. I went out to Atlanta, throw with guys. I spent a lot of time with those guys. And then getting here in OTAs, all the extra work before and after practice, all the extra meetings that we could do within our time periods, and then as well as the guys come out to San Diego in the off season. We had a great time for a little mini camp of our own, and just to see the evolution of the guys daily and the focus and the championship level that we want to practice at and play at every day, and the habits. Your habits have to align as well, and our guys have great habits, and that's the good thing about it. And they got some guys to look up to. Obviously, guys like Slayton, who's been here for a while, true pro. And then I think our young stars, obviously, in Wandale and Malik, and what they're able to do, guys to really look up to as well. And so I think guys like Bo Collins has really shown some unbelievable growth. I think Jalen Hyatt, he's a guy who was a super high draft pick. He's so talented, and he's got so much ability, and I think I think he's going to really shine for us. I think he hasn't done what he's wanted to do yet, but I think part of that is just the dialogue between me and him is so close, and just all the communication that really showed up in the off season. So just I think the most important part is we got youth that is on a constant quest for knowledge and learning.
Russ, when you look at Malik last year and this season, he had expectations being very high for him this year. How important is it for you to specifically to mentor him and establish some really strong chemistry?
Yeah, Malik and I have a great relationship. He's the locker right next to me, actually, and we got to spend a lot of time in San Diego together. I just love how he works. He's a lot of times you get talented guys, and their work ethic is super high, but can they keep it consistent? That's what you're always looking for, and I think his consistency and his love for the game, his consistency in his playmaking, his tenacity for the game, his leadership, his thought process, communication. He's not shy. He's great in the meetings. Anytime you have a young star receiver, for me, and especially when we have our meetings with the receivers and tight ends and stuff like that, it's the communication that we always have, right? But then also you want those guys to be interactive and communicate too, and he does a tremendous job of that. He's communicating to the other guys what he sees, what he would do, all these different things. So I thought he had a great day today. He made some really big plays. I think he had probably 2 or 3 touchdowns down there for sure. So I think there's going to be more to him, and we're going to keep developing. Obviously, we're just getting started and just kind of warming up and getting hot, but we're excited to work together.
When we spoke to Joe and Brian earlier, they said the guys are going to be competing, but Russ is our starter. What does that mean to you at this point in your career, and how beneficial is that to know that, hey, you're kind of locked into that role, and I can concentrate on getting ready for week 1 at this point?
I'm always just focused on being the best version of me every day. For me, my mentality is always to be the best in the world. I don't know anything else other than that. Just having that mentality and helping our football team win. I think that's the big thing that I'm really highly focused on is elevating our practice, elevating our play, elevating our mentality, and having a championship mentality daily. And I think that we're on that path, but we got to keep doing it daily. And it starts with me and my mindset and my energy and the way that I step into the huddle every day, and that's what's important.
What do you think about New York and New Jersey, and have you and your family gotten some time to spend around here?
Yeah, obviously I've been in New York a bunch in the past. I have a lot of family that's been here and lived here and stuff like that, and all that. But we love it here. It's just a great city. New York is amazing, Jersey as well, and just I think what I love is the fans, the sports culture. Obviously for Sierra, the music culture is great too, and just I think that's great. But I think just for me, I've always been a fast-paced guy. I don't know if anybody knows me really well. I'm constantly, just highly focused. I was always taking 18 credits in college, playing football, baseball. I just like being, occupied, and at the same time, number one part of it all is the game that I love. That's the best part about it. I get to do what I love to do, and these guys love doing it together, and we're spending a lot of time together. So these moments like this, training camp is the part where you love, those bonding at the hotel, the bonding, early in the mornings, late at night, the extra film, the time that you spend together talking ball. I mean, that's the part that you forever remember.
Did Sierra push you a little bit to come to New York?
No, she loves New York. I love New York too, but it was all about ball.
Going back to Malik just for a second, he mentioned a ton of your leadership traits and qualities. How important is that, not to just with the team have those traits, but he mentioned with the chefs, the cooks, and the other people in this building, how important is that to you to come in and establish that type of culture?
I think leadership's about 100% of the time. It's not 80% of the time or 90% of the time. It's got to be 100% of the time. And I think that it gets lonely sometimes. It can. But I think that when you have great people around you, it doesn't. It's the best part. It's the camaraderie, it's the fellowship, it's the time together, it's the leading the other groups and other guys to believe more than they can even see sometimes. And I think that's really important. And I think, and it's not just the players, it's everybody in the building. It's like you mentioned, it's the training staff to the chefs to the everybody that's helping, early in the mornings and late at nights that you don't see. And I think that's what matters more than anything else. And then obviously the culture that we continue to establish and bring daily, and the energy. We get the best job. I was telling the guys on the field, in the practice field, halfway through, man, we got the best job in the world. We get to play for the New York Giants, the opportunity we have, the gift that it is to play the game. And so, man, don't forget about that part, the gratitude part of it. And when you have gratitude and joy, it takes the fear away. A lot of times you're able to focus on the moments and focus on the actual moment of getting to step out in that field. And I get to see some young kids out there that dream to be like us one day. That's the best part about practice after you have a great day is, seeing the young kids, want to be like you. And if you can inspire one, then you get to change somebody's life. And I think that's why we get to do what we get to do.
Russ, you mentioned earlier that you know that people are watching, to see your energy and your nature and things. Do you ever need a recharge? Do you ever need to have someone be a Russell Wilson to you?
I think that's a great question. I think, I don't know, maybe I'm the Energizer Bunny a lot of the times, but I think, I'm always constantly working on me. We're all growing, we're all learning, we're all developing, we all have highs and lows. I've had a lot of highs, and the lows, they're just lessons along the way, not losses, they're just lessons. And I think a lot of times you're able to really grow and really just, that you're battle tested, man. If anybody's battle tested, I am. I can handle anything, and I think the best part about it too is that you, as a leader, you want everybody to know what they're getting every day, and I think that's what I want to be able to establish every day. And like I said, it's 100% of the time. It's not 80, it's not 90. It's 100% every day, 100% of the time, every day. And so that's the great part about it, and that's the gift that God's given me, and to be able to lead and to be able to play and love the game that I love and play the game that I love.
Russ, you've won a lot in your career. The guy who's, so to speak, the quarterback of the defense, Dexter Lawrence, has not won a lot in his career. He was just here talking about the urgency he feels. I'm wondering if you sense that from him.
I think when you play in the National Football League, the one thing that I've always believed in, and as a professional in general, is, no matter what the circumstances are, your urgency should always be high. I think the urgency that we have and the urgency that we constantly are focused on is just being the best version of us individually and then collectively. When you can be the best version of you, then fast forward, it makes us as a collective team better. And I think, a guy like Dexter Lawrence, he's the A-plus player of them all. He's a guy that's world class. I remember playing him last year. It's like, hey, this guy's all over the field. I remember he sacked me one time, and I had to get up. I was like, man, that's a big boy. So I just, to play with a guy like that and to know we have a lot of guys like that on the defensive side of the ball, in particular on the defensive line, and just across the board. I think guys like Bobby Okereke, who's a tremendous football player as well at the backer position, and some of the other guys we've added, Adebo and Holland and all those guys that we have in the secondary, and I'm excited for Banks too, what he can do. It's a group effort. Like I said, and it's not just one man. It's all of us together. And I think the best part about winning is that it's the incremental moments, the game-altering plays, the gap plays, I call it, that help you win. And I think those small incremental gains throughout the day, throughout the weeks, throughout the training camps, moments like this, that you kind of gain ground. And I think that's what we can do here. And I hopefully I can bring some of that winning culture and winning mindset, like I said, daily.
Russ, did you say anything to Jaxson after his pick six, or is that not your lane here?
I just told him next play. I don't know if you even heard me as loud at there, but I just told him next play. But he's got a good head on his shoulders, and there's going to be plays that people make. You got to be able to think about quarterback. You got to be able to move on to the next play, good or bad. And I think that's what we got to be able to do.
How much has he leaned on your experience, and what is your message to him?
Jax is next to me in the meeting rooms and stuff like that, so we get to talk a lot. I really like him. He's definitely asked a lot of questions and stuff, and I'm not one to hold back. I just give all my thoughts. I just believe in much is given, much required. So just you keep sharing and you keep learning. And as you're sharing, you're learning too, right? You're constantly growing and you're constantly reminding yourself to, oh yeah, that's a good point. Those little things. And so I think that's an important to keep helping him in whatever way, which in turn helps us and helps me as a player and as a leader and all of us, right? And we all want to be great. We want every player to be great. How great can we get collectively, and we can do that individually and add it up. Yeah, good football team.
Russ, have you ever not been confident in what you do, and do you, because of that, because you come off so confident, do you have to make sure that when you show your confidence that people believe it's genuine confidence and it's not just like teammates, not just trying to say things for the sake of saying them?
Yeah, I think first of all, you gain confidence through a few things. I think first of all, what you say in between your own ears is important. It's not even just the external part, but it's what's my internal language. I think my internal language has been great, throughout really my career. But really, I dedicate that to my parents. My mom, my dad, always encouraging rather than discouraging, lifting me up, highs and lows. I've been through some stuff. Seeing my dad pass away, I've been through some things in life. I grew up with no hot water, sometimes no water at all. I saw my parents work, the sacrifice they gave. I get to do the best thing in the world is play quarterback for the New York Giants and play in the National Football League for 14 years. Man, what a gift. And so for me, I got no other choice but to be confident because of what I've been through and what I've gone through and where I've been and all this success too, right? That's the second part of it is as you practice and you get better and you do the things right fundamentally over and over and over and over again. Part of success is not the moments, the singular moments. It's a collection of moments that you add up. When you add those collection of moments through practice and through your habits daily on and off the field, I think that gives you a great chance to give you your confidence and give you success more times than not. And then I think the third part to it is the ability to go through adversity. I think it was Joe Girardi talking about, paraphrasing here, but talking about Derek Jeter, and his best attribute was, he was always consistent, but he was also consistently great at adjusting. And I think that's one of the things that you have to be able to do as a guy, as a leader, as a player, is be able to consistently adjust and consistently grow. And then the last part of it is like I said, is when you get to do it for so long, there's this internal, I've been here before. And like I said, that internal language is a big part of it, but also too, it's the visualization that you picture. It's the plays. It's the obsession with studying. It's the obsession with film. It's all of that. When you've seen it and you can anticipate it and you have the process of elimination, understand what may happen, what may not happen here, that gives you confidence. And at the end of the day, you got to make plays, right? I've been fortunate to be able to make plays for a long time, and it's on film, So a lot of it is just you study it and learn it and grow, and you keep getting better and you ignore the noise and you keep your head down and keep working, and I think I also work on it too. I think last piece of it is that like I said, I think my mental aptitude is definitely very strong, but it doesn't mean I'm done with it. You have to keep growing, just like anything. You keep working on it, and so a big part of it for me, like even myself, is I had Trevor Moawad in my world for a long, long time as my mental coach for 12, 13 years. He passed away of cancer. He was the #1 sports psychologist in the world, and I called my brother about it, and a big part of it was just really trying to find that part of it again. So for me, I ended up bringing this guy on, Josh Lafrac, who was mental coach, couple of the Cubs won the World Series. He was Trevor's best friend. Got a very similar dialogue and language, so we get to talk about it a lot. And then ultimately, you got to have faith, what God's giving you. And so those things are how I build my confidence, how I keep it there, and then you keep growing and you keep building off of it.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Yep, thank you guys.